to order. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, the Highland Park Board of Education has given adequate notice of this meeting by having published the date, time, and place of this meeting in the Home News Tribune, and has posted notice of this meeting at Bartle School, 435 Mansfield Street, Highland Park, New Jersey. Israel, could we have a roll call, please?
Jerry Aversa,
Here.
Claire Berkowitz,
Here.
Catherine Bull,
Here.
Gregory Dietz,
Here.
Jesse Hughes,
Here.
Chandra Pointer Titus,
Present.
Daniel Ross, absent, Ann Sherber,
Here.
Adam Sherman,
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes for the October 21st regular public and executive sessions?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Jerry Aversa,
Yes.
Claire Berkowitz,
Yes.
Catherine Bull,
Yes.
Gregory Dietz,
Yes.
Jesse Hughes,
Abstain.
Chandra Pointer,
Abstain.
Daniel Ross, Ann Sherber,
Yes.
Adam Sherman.
Yes.
Israel, were there any communications that you know of?
No.
Okay, thank you. Tim, could we have the superintendent's report, please?
So first wanted to mention that we had the grand reopening of the auditorium. It was a beautiful night, and we had a lot of student participation in being able to showcase their talents. So I think that was a very successful reopening. It was almost a packed house as far as members of the community, and just a really great opportunity for our students to showcase their skills and talents, and for the community to be able to utilize it as a whole. The other thing right now, I'd like to ask Mary Curran to the podium to give us an update on the Rutgers GSC program in collaboration with the Highland Park schools.
Was this nice?
This is going to mess me up. I'm not used to this turn around thing. Don't move the podium over there.
Yeah, we
Good evening. It's very nice to be here again with you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mary Curran. I am the Associate Dean of Local Global Partnerships at the Graduate School of Education, and I've come several times to speak with you about the collaborations we've been working on, and tonight I wanted to give you a little bit of an update and talk to you about what we've done and what we're planning to do. And I wanted to apologize for being here a little late in the year. We had some family commitments, and I had hoped to be here earlier. As you know, we have, as of 2012, an official MOU with the district. And so we're very proud of that. We think we've really worked on a way to have mutually beneficial collaborations going on, where in our efforts to prepare future teachers and researchers, we can benefit from providing practical experiences here in the district at the same time that we can offer the district some free, up to this point it's pretty much all free services for you that you may not have been able to have on your own. And one of the things Mr. Capone and I were talking about recently too is really trying to find some ways to funnel some of our strongest, best candidates leaving the GSE into the district here so that we can work on that. And so we've begun that conversation. We also are looking for clinical educators at Rutgers, so finding ways that experts here in the district could be teaching for us as well. So we really want to get a nice bond going. And the whole time I'm thinking of doing this, it's not only for the Highland Park School District, but really for us to turn into a model for the state and for the nation for the kinds of projects that we're doing here. So quickly, a few things as of last year that I'm not sure you're familiar with, but we did come into the district to do several PD sessions. We did that for science, and we've been talking about how we might be able to continue with supporting the science program some more. We also do offer an ESL program for adults in the district. We're doing it right now. Every semester, we make sure that we have 8 sessions for adult immigrants in the community who are working on English. This summer, we once again had our Chinese program, and when I finish, I'll pass around this year's t-shirts for you. I brought a few things to share. I think there are about 80 or so pre-K through 5th graders who got a flex Chinese program, exploratory Chinese program in the summer through the district and the boroughs initiatives working with Rutgers. And we will continue to offer that in the after-school program through February when our funding ends. At Rutgers, I've spoken to you about the Teaching the World initiative that we're involved in as well, where one of our big goals is preparing future teachers to prepare their students for global competence. And so it's an initiative we'd really like to bring into the district here. We've had PD on it in the district. We'd like to continue that. We've been able to provide some small grant funding for teachers to go to some workshops and some other things. One of the biggest things that's come out of it right now is the Global Citizenship Initiative. And I know I've spoken with you about that before, but we wanted to give you an update because what we've been working on, and Adam Gold has been leading a group of teachers, is coming up with a menu of opportunities for students so that they can show that they are working towards global competence, global citizenship. What I'm working on my side is getting Rutgers to endorse it. So the idea is to have a seal, like a gold emblem or something that would get stamped on your diploma to show that you've completed global citizenship. So do you want to talk about it for just a second while I pass out some of the t-shirts and things I brought in?
So I've been chairing the Global Citizenship Committee that's part of our Middle States initiative. So for accreditation, we've been making global citizenship and the implementation of this program one of the priorities. And as a faculty member, I've also been trying to get other faculty members interested and invested in this idea. And we developed the menu of options, basically, as Mary said, different things that students can do in order to prove that they've achieved this level of global citizenship, which is a really good way for students to differentiate themselves when they're applying for college, when they're seeking a career, to be able to show that they have achieved these global competencies. So the 4 global competencies that we focused on were investigating the world, in which taking classes like race, gender, and ethnicity, or even just world history, selected social problems, participating in WISE, all would qualify for proving they have that skill. Recognizing perspectives, where participation in our Model UN or Global Awareness Group, or completing a class project that showed an understanding of different perspectives. Communicating ideas, which would be a certain number of years of foreign language. Taking an additional foreign language would get you extra points. And again, even 1 year of choir, because the choir program has implemented a number of international foreign language songs as part of its program. The last of these 4 is taking action. So that would be community service, a students developed service learning project, participation in DECA to do something that can impact the community, as well as in total creating this class project that every participant in the program would have to do in their senior year that would show they have these 4 global competencies. So that's the idea. The guidance department is really excited about it because they can help market their students that are coming out of high school in a new way. And we're really excited as a faculty because we know we can reach every level of learner with this unique opportunity.
We'll be passing a draft of this by our superintendent and assistant superintendent, and then by the board, so that we can put it in play as soon as possible. And one of the things that we've been talking about is making sure that grads this year will also be able to be eligible for this. You'll see on the menu that some of the things are required anyway, so students will have points, and then they can work on getting additional points. So, as I said before, we really just want to keep working on creating a stronger relationship, finding ways to funnel Rutgers resources and expertise into the district, and prepare for global competence, prepare for this extra endorsement for students to differentiate themselves and show the kind of expertise and the unique excellence that they got in their education here in Highland Park. So I'm going to pass out t-shirts. You guys can take one as they go around. I brought in those things are from me, the trifolds. It's just what we had done this summer in the Chinese program. The reason I brought them is just wanted to say, you know, we're at Rutgers at national conferences talking about what we're here doing in the district. We just had a little article published talking about how Highland Park has, in the PLCs that were instituted last year, been working towards global competence, how we're putting together the SEAL. We have a Teaching the World conference in the spring at Rutgers. Last year, several people from the district got up and highlighted what's going on, so we hope we can continue that, and we'll keep letting you know about that. I don't know if there are any questions from the board about this at this point. Okay, got some Teaching the World pens from you, t-shirts, and as usual, so don't forget, we do have a thank you to show our appreciation for the district. And I know Karen Lewis really made this happen last year quite a bit, but we also want the district to have this for this year. So thank you again for supporting our efforts. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
These go from small to large in the pile.
Feel free to take one, guys. Take one.
So just like to thank Mary for her continued support and the continued collaboration between the Rutgers GSC and the Highland Park School District. The student report.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, so just to follow up on what we said before with DECA a few meetings ago, we just wanted to update you on the group. So DECA has continued to prosper and grow, demonstrated by a surplus of new students joining the group. As of today, there are roughly 50 students in DECA, a group which originated with less than 10 members solely a few years ago. Last week, the group has been extremely successful in raising $500 for the New Jersey Covenant House, which provides shelter for homeless teens within the state. Currently, we are collecting items to send to deployed troops in Afghanistan who are deprived of basic daily necessities. And following this project, the Winter Wonderland Walk will hopefully bring a significant amount of donations and money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And these are just projects we have planned right as of now, but over the course of the year, there will be different forms of fundraising. Also, on the 27th of November, Student Congress will be hosting a service day where the entire student body and staff will take a day to participate in community service within the building. Different stations will be hosted by groups such as Student Congress, DECA, the Highland Park Food Pantry, and we hope the National Honor Society. Each homeroom will rotate between the stations, and this will ensure that the students all contribute to each cause and individual project. Service Day is another way Student Congress hopes to build pride within the community and building while giving back. And actually a few more things. Model UN, which is a group led by Mr. Gould and Ms. Wilson, will be bringing 65 students to the Rutgers Conference from December 5th to December 8th. And also, just a note from the high school, middle school librarian, Ms. Puccio. The Scholastic Book Fair was very successful, and the total amount of sales were $2,610. And the middle school will have about $1,400 in Scholastic dollars to spend, while the English department will decide on the teaching and learning materials. So, and the books will be delivered by December of 2013.
Also, the girls soccer team will be going from the gold division to the blue division next year, which is a very big accomplishment, and we're all very proud. Also, November 14th, there will be a mental health awareness assembly run by the Teen Center. And on November 21st, 22nd, 23rd, the high school play will be run by the drama department. Finally, one of the concerns of the students lately is about the replacement of the physics teacher at the high school. They would just like some clear communication about what's happening with the situation and if they will get a new permanent physics teacher soon. That's it.
Thank you. Public comment. The Highland Park Board of Education welcomes public participation and has reserved this time for your comments. Does anybody want to speak? Okay. And could we have the curriculum committee report, please?
The curriculum committee did not meet tonight. I would like to move items 2 through 8 and 9 on the addendum, please.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Traversa,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Ms. Bold,
Yeah, I'm here. Yes.
Mr. Dietz?
Ms. Hughes,
Apologize. Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Pointer Titus,
Yes.
Ms. Sherber,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman,
Yes.
Adam, could you give the Finance Committee report, please?
The Finance Committee did not meet tonight. I just want to reiterate what Tim said and thank all the students and faculty who participated in the grand opening of the new auditorium. And with that, I would like to move items 2 through 17.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion? Could we have the roll call, please?
Ms. Aversa,
Yes.
Mr. Berkowitz, Ms.
Yes.
Berkowitz, Ms. Bold,
Yes.
Mr. Dietz,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Pointer Titus,
Yes.
Mr. Ross, I'm sorry, absent. Ms. Sherber,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Greg, could you give the Personnel Committee report?
Sure. The Personnel Committee did not meet tonight. I'd like to move items 2 through 3 on the agenda and items 4 through 15 on the addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Aversa,
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz,
Yes.
Ms. Bold,
Yes.
Mr. Dietz,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Pointer Titus,
No items 4 through 8?
No, you're going to 13.
12. Thank you.
Yes, the rest.
Yes for the rest. Thank you.
Sherber,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Okay. Anne, could you give the Policy Committee report, please?
Yes. So, first of all, Susan O'Dotto, the sainted Susan O'Dotto, has actually gone through all of the policies that need your attention in committee. So, in front of you, what you have are policies that are specific to. Are they specific to their committees, or it's just everything? Did everybody? Oh, everybody got everything. So, do you know? So, for example, curriculum addresses the policies in the 2000 and 5000 series. Personnel does. Do you know which numbers personnel is?
9 and
1,304, 1,000, 3,000, and finances, which?
5. Yeah.
No, 5 is curriculum.
Curriculum is, so we're 3, I believe?
3 and 5.
No, 3 and
5 is definitely curriculum.
Right now, I believe you, 3 and 6, maybe? Yes,
Well,
3.
so each committee should know which policies are pertinent to that committee. If you would, as committee members, go over the policies. The way that Susan has it is that she's divided them up. Everybody has everything. So she's divided them up into the 2000s, the 3000s, the 5000s, and so forth. If you would go through those policies that are pertinent to your committee, and if you could discuss them, we're at a slow time of the year in terms of meetings, but if you could discuss them at the next committee meeting, which I guess will be in December, then we can, and either revise or just review, we can adopt them for first reading at the following meeting, as long as you sort of bring them back to Susan to get on the agenda. The other thing that I would like to talk about for just a minute is, I know we have had some concerns about how we're interpreting the HIB policy, and I specifically asked Susan to tell you all that the state has revised the HIB policy, or actually Strauss-Esme has revised the HIB policy, so it was in the folder. Did everyone look at it? Did everyone have a chance to look at it? Because actually the new policy, first of all, the policy is much less draconian than the training that we received led us to believe.
Completely.
So I don't know if you've actually read through the policy. It's quite a long policy. It's a 29-page policy. But the revisions actually sort of take it down even a couple more notches.
Absolutely.
So that we are not compelled to apply these, sort of sweeping disciplines to HIBs that we are, or the things that we don't necessarily feel rise to the level of HIB.
Exactly.
So if you would, that's a curriculum committee policy, and so we will review it for the next meeting and have it on the agenda for the following meeting. But if you all want to take a look at it, because it really takes everything down a notch, and contextualizes things, and I think it will make everybody feel a lot more comfortable with that policy.
And I really liked how everything was not punitive anymore, that there were other remedies.
Right, and there is context.
Yeah, exactly.
So, which I think is the thing that we've been getting stuck on,
Yep.
this lack of context, where a thing happens and it doesn't matter what's going on around that thing, we're sort of compelled, or we have felt compelled to apply a fairly high standard of discipline. This, I think, gives us a lot more latitude. And so I hope that you will all take a look at it, just because I know it's something we've all been concerned about.
I have about 6 changes to the policy. Those should go to...
Again, it's a curriculum committee policy, so you wouldn't actually have an opportunity to weigh in on changes until it shows up for first reading,
Okay.
which will probably be in January.
Well, I don't want to surprise you guys, so I'll shoot you guys an email, but
Everything is a surprise.
But I definitely changed it in terms of parental notification and the right to appeal.
I actually don't know if we can change this policy, Evan.
My understanding is that we could go further than the policy.
I see.
I was going to suggest that we do talk to the attorney, but it is a mandated policy, but my belief from the past explanations is you cannot change the sentiment of the policy, but you could go further than the policy under your own regulations. And like, for instance, the change that I have in terms of reports to law enforcement, I just include a parental notification portion of it in there that's not included. And I believe that would be able to go under the law, but I think we should check with the attorney. That's on page 22.
Well, in any case, so
Yeah,
you
you
will
guys
have
make
the
the changes and
opportunity to make changes to it when it shows up for first reading.
Okay.
Any other?
And there isn't anything to move, Catherine.
Thank you, Ann. Okay. There's no president's report. Is there any old business? No. Is there any new business?
I just wanted to bring up some concerns I have with regard to communication coming from the school level to parents. For example, I know that at Bartle we haven't had Spanish. And I know that it took some time to find out from my own child that we didn't have Spanish at Bartle. And I feel that that's sort of one of the things that should be communicated to parents. Another concern that I have is that our parent-teacher conferences only happen once a year, and it's hard to sort of follow what's happening in the classroom on a week-to-week basis without having any information from the teachers. It's hard as a parent, and I'm sure other parents will agree, to support the schools when we don't know what our kids are really working on. I mean, I have an 8-year-old boy, maybe it'll be different with my 4-year-old girl, but he doesn't really tell me a whole lot about what's going on day to day, and it's good. I know some teachers definitely have instituted sort of an email policy where they're giving a roundup for what they're teaching for that week, or even at the end of the week, here's what we covered. In my own experience, it's been very helpful. I know in other districts, teachers have their own websites, and so parents are really checking in on those websites. Here, in my experience, it's been kind of a black hole. Not really sure what's going on in the classroom, so don't really know how to support the teachers in the schools. So I wanted to bring that up and see if we can find some solutions for that.
I want to add to that if nobody else has a comment on Jesse.
I have a question
okay.
about it. Is there anything required of teachers as far as communication?
Are you looking at as far as a policy or a practice as far as staff-parent communication?
I guess something that they have to do.
My understanding is report cards are required.
Yes.
And parent-teacher conferences are required, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the only requirement in terms of giving information to the parents.
When we try to do,
I mean, homework comes home, there's Friday folders and things like that, but that's sort of, I'm thinking more sort of larger picture of here's what we're doing in the classroom.
when we did, we do have websites for, I don't know if we still do, but we did for a very long time. They were underutilized, and it was explained to me at the present time on the board that contractually we could not force teachers to update a website and keep a website up to date.
I'll give you an example. So my son was working on, say, multiplication. Well, I won't know until I see the Friday folder of all the work. And yes, I know his homework, but I don't know what's coming up for that week. So if I wanted to do flashcards with him or something like that with him, there's no sort of input from the teacher so that I can come up with something on my own at home to help him. So wherever there's a deficiency, I'm not really finding out until much later. We've moved on to the next section. It would be great to know more about what's going on. I'm not saying every single day send me an email of what's going on, but give me sort of, here's what we're covering maybe this week, or here's some forward-looking things. So as far as I know, we get parent-teacher conferences at the beginning of the year, and that's it. Anytime there's a problem, I guess I have to just reach out to the teacher. We get report cards, and then we do get a principal's update, but that doesn't really tell us. It's very general. And like I said, last year, the teacher that my son had did do an email, which was extremely helpful. And in talking to parents in other districts, the teachers are instituting this kind of thing, a weekly email, or they have a website that's updated and letting you know, here's what we're working on, here's the projects, here's the things we're covering. Studying the state of New Jersey, great, so I can take him on a field trip. Just different ways to support the school, but I need to know what's going on to do that.
Could not agree more.
So can I add something? So a couple things. First of all, just to sort of extend this beyond Bartle, I guess at the middle school, they used to have a homework hotline that parents could check, and I guess they don't anymore. So that method of communication, and I know that middle schoolers are moving toward independence, and we're giving them, more responsibility, but, you really can't overstate the importance of parental involvement. And, and middle schoolers are very much on a cusp, and they sometimes act irresponsibly, and it would be great if parents could, sort of assist in keeping them on track. So I'm not sure what happened to the homework hotline, but it would be interesting to hear.
I think we talk a lot about getting the community to come to more meetings, getting the community more involved, and I think that the first step is this micro step of here's your child, this is what your child is doing. Let's tell you what your child is doing. I've been trying to wrap my mind around community involvement a lot more, and I think we are really missing out on this one sort of essential building block of that, which is, here's what your kid's doing this week.
I think that is the essential building. I think that is what we need to do. I think we're going to have to extend some sort of Power School service.
It could be Power School. It could be as simple as an email from a classroom teacher. There's less emails now, especially at the Bartle level, since we're all in one isolated. Obviously, at the middle school, that's going to be harder. It could be teacher websites. You know, I think we have so many technological solutions that are pretty easy to use. Email's pretty easy to use. It's one email that goes to all the parents.
Yep.
So I don't think that at this meeting we necessarily have to come up with an answer, but I do think it's something we really need to focus on.
Agreed. And I just want to say that we do have some teachers who do websites, and some of them are excellent. I don't want anybody to think that some of our teachers are not doing it. I want to acknowledge that we do have a few who go out who do some great websites and update parents that way. Especially,
and, you know, my concern actually grows out of the fact that last year I felt very involved and I could support the school because I was getting this newsletter, and this year it's a different teacher, different teaching styles, and that's totally fine. It just seems to me such a great way to get parents involved in their kids.
it has to happen. It makes sense.
Well, I was gonna say, like, on back to school night, did they give you like a, sort of like an outline of what they're going through, and then you can just like follow along in their little workbooks or something?
It touches on sort of the general ideas of what we're going to be covering, but it's not like, I mean, I think multiplication is a really good example because we keep circling back to it, and my guy may or may not need some flashcards, but just let me know and I can do that. But if you don't tell me what's happening, I can't support you.
One of the things that they're working on right now in PLCs that I think they've been doing for 4 or 5 hours over the last few weeks is working on what do we communicate to parents in report cards, and trying to get an idea of what are we trying to communicate, what's the information, and what's the what should parents really know, and are they able to really understand what it is that we send them. So that would be something that we would be scaffolding back after that once we've kind of determined as far as what's important on a larger scale. That's actually the framework that we've been working on. What I hear you saying, I think, is more of a regular communication beyond the Friday folders. And I don't know if you're looking at more curriculum resources where you could see what the overall scope is.
Here's the topics we're going to cover this week. I think that a lot of parents want to be involved and feel frustrated because it feels like this black hole. I don't know what my kid's doing this week. And, a lot of parents have kids like mine who's not going to come home and say, guess what, I did long division today. It was awesome. He's going to come home and say I didn't do anything. And as a parent, I want to be involved and I want to support the schools, but I need to be given the tools to support the schools. And report card time is too late. I can't remediate at home if I don't know what's going on. I can't build anything into what we're doing at home or support the school in any way if I'm only learning what's happening when he gets a bad grade. I need to be able to help the schools sooner.
Sure. We have had conversation as far as what is the reporting cycle, and if you take something at the middle or the high school where you could do something like bi-weekly reporting, where every other week, and then they would have the assignments, but again, that's after the fact.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different components here. One is, and again, we've been spending our time as far as making sure or trying to work in that parents and students understand how grades are generated, have an understanding as far as what that reporting mechanism is. The piece that I think you're talking more about, though, is more of the curriculum, as far as, and currently, we do have things that are posted on the website, but as far as those maps into practice, that is one of the initiatives that we're working at from a district standpoint, where we're trying to build out a framework that's going to allow for people to see the integration of these skills up and down and between the grade levels. Again, it's something that we're in the initial stages of, and I guess I would kind of try and frame it like this, as far as we can follow up as far as regular communication. And again, you're talking about sending out something that's more curriculum-based, either from the buildings or for the teachers, just to follow up. And that's something that, again, if we were looking at doing an email blast, they could, whoever has email, be able to put that in and be able to send that out to communicate that.
I honestly think it's as simple as a teacher sending a Monday email to the parents that says, these are the topics we're going to be covering in math, in reading, in writing. I hear what Anne's saying. I think actually knowing what homework and what projects we're going to be working on and what we're going to be doing, building it out from there, but I do think a really good starting point is literally an email to the 25 parents of kids in that classroom and letting them know that this is what we're working on.
Well, there was a building-wide homework hotline at the middle school, which seems to have disappeared. So that, I guess that's and I found that actually quite useful in the old days.
Homework-wise, I mean, I honestly think that a classroom-based website where you log in and you say, here's my homework is, I think that technology has maybe advanced a little bit and we can probably come up with some sort of...
Well, I think it was an online, was it a phone thing or an online thing?
It was a phone.
So it can easily migrate to an online, it can easily migrate to the website,
Well, frankly, I don't know why students in middle school couldn't just turn in homework, online too. So I think there's a lot of sort of technology pieces to work out in that sense. But at the very least, that base layer of communicating to parents.
I think they can turn some teachers do accept it online, accept it digital files. I think it's a matter of the teacher's comfort with technology.
Okay.
I have to say, I agree with Jesse.
Yeah.
I think that teachers, I think parents like to know what's going on. But I think it's pretty important that the teachers get to come up with or be involved in how they want to do it.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. I think the teachers want the parents involved, and I think that they want parents supporting the students, and I think we're all on the same page. We just have to figure out a way to communicate with each other.
Yep.
But I don't think it should be
I agree, teachers absolutely should be involved in how that happens.
Yeah, I don't think we should dictate what they should do.
But
set the
No, I think it'll be
expectation
at
that
their
they
choice.
communicate with the parents.
Yeah.
When Noah was in first grade, there was a little newsletter sent out, and it was like, here's what you can do with your child because this is what we're doing, And I would see other parents, like at the Science Museum, this is in Rochester, because it was suggested by the teacher, here's what we're learning. And that was pretty cool. And it was a way, honestly, Noah says nothing to me now, but there was a way that we would have that conversation. And it was reinforced. I do agree with you.
And I again, it's just, I think teachers would be on board with this. I actually requested this of my daughter's teacher, and she said, fine, no other parent has even asked. So maybe we just haven't asked.
Anything to get the kids excited, I say.
And I think that we've also all heard too many stories when report cards come and a kid is doing worse than they thought they were.
Yeah.
Stuff like this could really help with intervention and remediation at home by somebody somebody that the student is comfortable with. I have another part of this, but
So do I.
we made a deal. We talked about this earlier. Communications, I wanted to talk about on the more global level from the district. I had spoken to Tim about more PR communications, talking about positive things our students are doing, talking about sports programs, drama programs, art programs, and just accomplishments of our students. I have looked at many districts. Princeton so far is my favorite, who have developed Facebook and Twitter pages run by the district. It is a great, I know some of us talked about this when Sandy happened, but it's a great way to disseminate information, to talk about positive things that are in the district, and to get parents information just about board meetings, about upcoming field trips, upcoming events in the district. I think, especially this week, you could, at least on the Facebooks that I've seen, friends that I am in this district, the school district is a hot button issue, and many people do talk about the district on Facebook and concerns about the district, and there is a vacuum of lack of information where there's a lot of false reporting out there. And I'm not saying that we want to combat that, but I want to feed into the system positive information and the right information when possible. I don't know whose responsibility exactly it would fall under, but I think that it is something that other districts are doing. I'm telling you, look at Woodbridge, look at Princeton, look at small districts like Milltown. I think this is something that we could do, and if you look at the Princeton model, it's actually run by the 9 board members. If you look at other models, it's run by an administrative person or somebody who has the responsibilities for communication. That also being said, newsletter format. Newsletter, we've talked about it. I don't know what we ever really decided on that, but there does need to be a way for us to get positive information home to our parents about accomplishments. Again, same thing that we would put up on Facebook almost, but accomplishments our students are doing, opportunities for new people to get engaged in the district, opportunities for students to get engaged in different activities. I think that these are all things that with expanded administration we should be able to accomplish. That being said, I know not many board members are not going to want to hear this, but I do think our website needs to be updated. I do not think it is professional. I know we just changed it, but I find it very difficult to find forms and information and search material. I also find that there's a lot of dead space, and I think that it could be updated to be more professional, with specific tabs for specific curriculum. If you look at our curriculum right now, all the Bartle curriculum is in one section. We don't even have just the math section. We have Bartle curriculum and there's everything. It's very hard to find specific information even from policies. You have to go through 6 pages to finish just one section of policy. All policies should be on one page and be easily linked to that policy, not 6 different options to get that policy downloaded. I've done a lot of research on other websites of other school districts. They are done what I would determine to be much more professional than ours and easier to navigate.
Can you see from those websites who did them?
Yes. And I know that when we did the website last time, for some reason, there were only 2 people who were called or who bid on it. I don't know which one, but I think we need to go with a more professional service for our website. And I don't want to get off the subject of communications, but I have other subjects if anybody else has other.
Does anybody else want to talk about the communications issue before we move on?
I have just one other small thing, which is less positive, which is just disciplined communications. Timing of parental involvement, I think we can do better on that. And timing of parental notification, I think we can do better on that. Again, coming right back to the need for parents' involvement and the need for the parent and school community to support each other. I think that we take too long to let the parents know what's going on.
Adam, when did we redo the website? Wasn't that just like last year?
About a year ago, yeah.
And I don't think the curriculum that's on there is even complete or up-to-date.
It's not well done at all. It's very complicated to understand. It's like for 5th grade English, I was looking at today, there's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5.
But Tim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of the curriculum that's up there is sort of up-to-date or finalized.
Being that we just did it,
He will probably tell you that it doesn't adhere to Common Core, is what he will tell you.
Well, I think, we've had conversations as a board as far as what are our priorities and the things that we're trying to prioritize. And I guess I'm just wondering, we're talking about recreating a lot of things, and the curriculum has been something that's been problematic, and it being, accessible not just to parents but to teachers is another issue. That there's issues as far as that being able to be communicated. I'm just wondering from the things that we're talking about here, you know, if these are going to be new initiatives, any one of these things, then we need to talk about what's going to be the process and what's going to be the expectation. And if we're going to set something for teachers or for a newsletter or for a website or Twitter or whatever that may be, everything around that has to be developed. So that it's a fully developed idea, and that and these are going to be things that are, you know, comprehensive. I guess the only point that I'm trying to make is that when we're talking, there are certainly things that we're working on improving. There are certainly things, and you know, the curriculum and its accessibility is certainly one. As far as what it is that we communicate is another. You know, we're just at the very infant stages, I think, with some of these things, as far as you know, really getting it developed and getting it rolled out. And you know, I'm not going to disagree with anything that's been said. It's just simply what's the timeliness and which are going to be our priorities moving forward, as far as what are the big ticket items that are going to impact student achievement immediately, which is where we've been focused in trying to identify what's the next practice. You know, if we're going to identify something and we want to move on this, very similar to when we talked about you know, the Lego program, or we've talked about some of these things. There are a lot of things that we want to do to make sure that the district does a better job, but I'm just saying we probably need to pick one and then identify what do we want that to look like, develop it completely so that we can roll it out so that it's done well. Because just to use the website as an example, if we're not happy with what the website is, that's not something that we can have fixed tomorrow. You know, there's a pretty extensive process as far as what it's going to take to get those things updated and cleaned up. And so we need to prioritize what those things are going to be, so that we can start working that from the top priority and understand that these are all things that are on the list, but make sure that it's well developed and they're interconnected with what we're trying to accomplish overall.
I agree with you completely, but I do think that you would agree that parental involvement and letting the parents know what's going on in the classroom is going to enhance student achievement.
Absolutely, but that's why I was asking, you know, are you talking about, you know, an email home, or are you talking about something that's going to be monitored input? Because those are two very different things.
I think we need to start small, and we can grow out, but I think an email home on a classroom level, very simple. You know, it can be 4 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, that's it. This is what we're doing this week. And I think that's sort of, you know, baby steps, but I think that that's probably the best way. No part of me can understand how we can expect children to fully achieve if we're not telling the parents what's going on in the classroom.
Well, I think he's kind of saying is, okay, so we have that email, what happens if a teacher does not do it?
That's not what your problem. It's my problem.
But that's what he's saying is that we want to make sure that we're all on.
Well, but I mean, I guess that's my point. If you're sitting here saying that this is now a mandate that you know, every teacher is going to do that, that's not as simple as just saying let's mandate this.
Exactly.
And I guess that's what I'm saying. You know, if obviously, and you ask any teacher, you ask anybody, obviously we want parental involvement and we want to have an understanding and everybody to have a complete understanding of what we're trying to accomplish, why. But it's not as simple as just saying let's everybody send an email, because there is an implementation. There's what's the expectation? Is it reasonable that, you know, we have them summarizing their curriculum on a weekly basis to send out to staff? I mean, I'm just saying it's a much bigger process than I think.
Yeah, and I think that if you talk to some teachers, you will find that a lot of them have, or some of them have already instituted this. I'm not going to point to concrete examples, but I know that there are teachers who have instituted this, and I think it's been very successful. And I'm not saying we're going to solve this tonight, but I do think this warrants leaving this, having a conversation perhaps with those teachers who have instituted it, and seeing how we can roll this out in a positive way, because I actually do think that this is an essential thing that should happen, you know, sooner rather than later. And sending an email is not going to cost us a lot of money. So,
just to clarify,
especially given the number of changes that are going on in the district.
Just one thing to Claire's point is that not everybody is comfortable using that format.
Well, that's why I don't think we have a solution right now. I
Right.
think that this needs to be something that's discussed with the teachers.
On the teacher evaluation, Domain 4 is professional responsibilities, and that's where communication with families comes in. I mean, it's actually part of professional duties. So to rate highly in that, you have to communicate with families.
Right.
So I think it's built into our system.
Right.
So
I
it
just
is
don't,
an expectation.
and I think to your point also, I don't know if we can mandate anything.
If it's in the evaluation, and people will get evaluated on it, it's part of their job duties.
So
So
coming up
you,
with.
so you can't require it, but you can actually.
Right.
you can-
Right, I mean, you
I'm saying
can't say
mandate-
how it
right.
happens.
That's what I'm saying, is it was to your
But-
point. That you
So,
said earlier.
but it's not like we'd be adding something, it's already part of how they're getting evaluated.
Right.
And coming up with ideas how is just part of
Their
professional
responsibility.
development.
It's not that simple as far as saying it's part of the evaluation, because there isn't a requirement within the evaluation of saying that a weekly communication outlining curriculum, which is really what we're talking about. Again, this is something we can easily take back. We can work with on the principals and get an understanding as far as what people are doing and encourage that and start there. I think that's probably the easiest solution of just bringing it to people's attention. Again, I think we have a very dedicated staff that wants to involve parents and wants to make sure that they're well educated on it. I think that that's the right first step, and see how that progresses, rather than saying that you are going to be held accountable for this and we're going to put it in your evaluation, or that setting a mandate that you must communicate this on a weekly basis.
I completely agree with you. I think that is.
I have one other thing. Sure. Or two other things. I'm going to do the quick one first. Community Service Day. I know the students had spoken about that. I don't particularly know what goes into that, but what many districts have done, and I think we've spoke about before, is make MLK Day a school-wide community service day. I would love for us to go in that route and not take away from an educational day during the school year. I would love to make MLK Day a day off, but with community service for the students and teachers. So, voluntary.
Okay.
Voluntary.
I was gonna say.
Voluntary. But a day that would focus on community service in Highland Park, and not only around the school, but around the full community. And I know many districts have done that. And I know this community service day is probably great, but I would love to do it on a day that's not an educational day. That's my comment. But another concern that was brought to the attention of me and many other board members is the science department at the high school. And what is going on there. I wanted to talk about a remediation program after school that would be available to all students in the chemistry department. And I know many parents are going out and providing tutors, but I also know that there's many students many families who cannot do that. I think right now, while there are concerns of mine with the science department, I would like the district to provide at our cost a Schedule C position for tutoring after school for the science department. And I wanted to put that forward tonight as a motion.
Isn't there already a homework or tutoring program? Isn't there already something, a homework help?
Yeah, NHS has homework help every Tuesday and Thursday, but not a lot of people
Right.
go to it.
There's been a serious issue with it's run by students. There's always been this issue with students going, and that goes way back to even when I was in high school. I think right now there is an identified need. I think members in the community are feeling the impacts of this, and I think right now this needs to be a temporary position at the high school. And I would love to hear what you guys think.
And who would you think would do this? Somebody, a current,
We would
this
have
is a new...
we would have to advertise for it. And it could be a current teacher, but it could also not. It's a Schedule, my understanding is it would be a Schedule C position, which is a $49 an hour. I think it's something that the community needs right now.
I just think we have a hard enough time getting the teacher itself. I mean, it's a good idea. I mean,
Is it just chemistry you're concerned about?
To be honest,
Physics, too.
To be honest, no.
So what plan do we have in place at this time? Because I know that a lot of parents have complained to me as well, and I wasn't at the last meeting, so you may have already spoken about this, but what is the plan, right? Because, the problem is that these kids I hear, are falling behind.
Yep, absolutely.
So currently, what do we have to actually make up for that?
Well, right now, we do have a position that was just vacated tonight. So tomorrow, that position will be posted to fill based on that resignation. As far as the concerns, as far as additional support, there has been action taken as far as helping to support and make sure that there's assistance provided to improve the qualities of those programs. As far as offering an after-school program, I mean that's something that we could entertain. I guess I've always been of the opinion that good instruction in the classroom really isn't. You can't supplement that. That is the top priority. Obviously, I've been made aware of the history as far as concerns within the department and as far as the needs of these students. I'm not adverse to implementing a tutoring program after school. I guess I'm wondering from our ladies over here what the assistance for chemistry would currently be, because you're saying that there's currently assistance. There's an advisor there, right?
You mean a teacher advisor?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, there is potentially that opportunity now that you're saying is not taken advantage of.
No.
So for the homework club, though, there isn't specific instruction to enhance. It's just really helping with the current homework. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, but students can request individual NHS tutors, which I think is more effective. They'll meet with them during lunch, and that's one-on-one, and that can be in a specific subject. They'll find an NHS member that's really good at that subject. So I think that's pretty effective. But after school, I don't really think it's very effective because not a lot of kids attend.
And a lot of kids, because we have so many other activities, programs, sports and stuff too.
Yeah.
I think that impair.
So we've already
The football team uses it on
for the
Tuesdays.
Right.
chemistry teacher, right? We are in the process of
No, it was a
physics teacher.
resignation for physics.
Yeah, it's a resignation.
Right. So I think my argument is there's going to be a lot of holes right now in the science department. Any additional help that this district can provide, I think this is of minimal cost to us and could be evaluated on a month-by-month basis even.
But are we hearing, though, that the students are just not attending after-school tutoring? Is that?
Yeah, that's been the problem, over the past few years. The NHS students, they usually do attend their assigned days for the tutoring, but it's not even a lack of communication or advertising. It's just that the students don't show up even if they need the help. So I know that in NHS, I worked with, we had elections, and so the officers, we've been working on promoting the idea of more people coming to these lessons and using more effective skills and when we're tutoring the other students. So we've been trying to fix this for...
That issue has been going on since I had been in high school, and it's a pure thing. It's a pure pressure thing. It's a pure responsibility thing. It's students going to other students asking for help, which could be quite difficult in high school. Yeah. And that's the issue. I'm proposing a tutor, an actual teacher. And when we did have homework center, that we haven't had in a while, but that was there when I was here. That was more widely attended than National Honor Society has always been.
I'm not against what you propose, but I'm hearing Jerry over here saying it's really hard for us to find teachers.
We do have,
Where you're finding this after-school person.
I would hope that it would be a teacher who we do have. That would be my hope. It's just like we do SAT programs, and those are run by our teachers. I would hope that this would be by the same. I can't force anybody to apply for it, but I would hope that we would have a qualified person. I am going to make the motion tonight. I don't know if there is support or not, but I think it's something that's really important and could be evaluated on a month-by-month basis on the need for it. So I guess I would like to put a motion on. I would like to move a tutoring program for the science department at the Schedule C rate. If there's no second, then.
I'll second.
Is there discussion?
Chandra, can you say again what the football team does on Tuesdays?
On Tuesdays, they work with the homework. It's mandatory on Tuesdays with the football team. So instead of going to the first hour of practice, they go to make sure that their homework is done. I wish they did it every day. Tuesday is the day I don't have to fuss.
Right.
Right.
Are they the only team that does that?
No, basketball has done it as well. I think a lot of the sports team actually do that, you know. But that's just to get all the homework done in general, not to, like, this is for something, you know, Adam's idea is just more specific. And really, as a parent, I mean, my child has been affected both years with the science teacher, so I really do, you know, appreciate where you're coming from. I just know maybe star situation, I just don't know if it's something that would really be.
I got to tell you,
I would sort of like to know, before we do this, I would like to know what the current science teachers feel is the need. I mean, I think this is actually something that maybe we need to talk over with the current science teachers before we, because obviously they can offer, I think, some direction here that, I mean, this feels a little bit off the cuff.
Right, it's not like we're going to get a new teacher right away, and maybe we're hoping to get a top-notch teacher, right? But, you know, I mean, everything is still the unknown, so this could be something that really could be worthwhile that we could use. I'm just wondering if we just need to, like, just...
I agree with...
The programs that are currently in place, are the people aware of these programs, and are they using the programs that are currently in place?
Well, I think we're mixing two things.
Yeah.
We're talking about the resignation. The resignation is in physics.
The resignation, he only taught physics?
Right.
I'm sorry, and are we talking about chemistry tutoring?
And that's...
I think I initially said chemistry, and I also think that there is going to be a need for both, to be honest.
Parents who came last time.
Right. We're talking about chemistry.
Yes. But with the resignation and a substitute teacher that will be in there.
Is this for students who took chemistry last year? I mean,
There's a new, so the parents who came last time were concerned about this year's chemistry honors class.
Oh.
There seems to be a serious deficiency with science in this district, and I know there are many, many parents who are feeling concerned with their student right now, and it's an emergent situation for many of these parents who have gone out on their own and are paying for a tutor. But there are many students in this district who take some of these classes who cannot afford a tutor, or whose parents might not know they need a tutor. And I think this would be a program, especially while we're going through so much flux in the science department, to make tutoring and remediation available to everybody in this district. And I'm not saying this is a lifelong position, but this is a current need, an emergent need in my vision, and I think it's something that should be approved tonight.
Adam, let me just take a step back. I think you've identified a problem.
Yep.
That you perceive with some teaching issues, learning issues, whatever it is that's going on in the science department. And you've come to the conclusion that you think the solution to the problem is to offer tutoring. right?
As a stopgap, yes.
Yes.
It's a temporary measure, yes.
The first time that we as a board heard about one of the specific problems was at the last meeting.
I don't think that's
Yes?
true. No.
One of the specific problems was
One of
the
the,
last,
yes, he's right, one of the specific problems.
was at the last meeting. I think that was at the last meet. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you that that's a good idea. I think it's a fine idea that we would offer something like that, but I guess I would want to hear a little bit more from our administration before we jump into any one solution. I don't disagree with you that there might be an emergent situation that needs to be taken care of. I'm a little bit hesitant to throw a solution out there without knowing the specifics of what the problem is we're trying to solve. And I feel like there's I don't know any other way to articulate it. I'm sorry if I'm not being clear. I feel like there's a problem that you've identified. I'm not entirely clear what the problem is, and there's a solution that's been identified, and I'm not entirely clear that the solution that's been identified is going to solve the problem that you're talking about. And so I'm having a hard time getting my head wrapped around that. And it doesn't mean that tutoring is a bad idea. It might be a great idea, but I don't know if I could say yes to that tonight. It doesn't mean I wouldn't be able to say yes to it. I just don't know if I feel comfortable saying yes to it tonight without giving the administration a chance to do their diligence on it. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it.
In my opinion, the administration has had 2 weeks to review the issues. I have sent an email to the administration earlier this week with this idea. And I agree with you. I'd love to hear what the administration says, and I think they briefly said that they don't object to it.
But there were complaints last year about chemistry, specifically.
Yep.
And we didn't hear about them
Specifically.
until May.
Right.
Remember?
But
And
there
it
were
was like a
complaints
whole
last year,
year
so
had
this is
gone-
not
yeah.
new. So it's been more than 2 weeks.
It's a new administration. This is
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in terms of just hearing about it. I know last year that I heard about it. And then it seems to just continue and continue and continue.
This is $50 an hour a week.
Here's what I would suggest. We have, if you make a movement tonight, if you make a disapproval tonight, then that would let us post. Nothing can happen until the next board meeting anyway. And then that would be, into December. You're looking at then, in theory, if this was even starting, you'd be looking at starting in, mid or the last week of December. And that would give you time that we would be able to follow up on this, and then both things are in motion. The administration is following up, and you have this in place. It's approximately a month out from now, and then we'd have a much greater report as far as what's been done, what's happened. Has there been improvements? Is there still a need?
I think that's great.
And that way, it allows us to, the decision as far as actually filling that position doesn't occur until the December board meeting. It allows it to progress so that we're not another month behind if in fact we identify that this is a confirmed need come the December meeting.
I think that's a good
And
plan.
if not, that's where we're not bound.
And then we don't, and then
At
if
that point, then you just wouldn't approve the position come
Yep.
December.
I think that's a great plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
There's a motion on the table, yeah.
There's
Do you have,
There is a
do
motion.
you have the motion,
I
right?
have the motion and I have the
Okay.
second, yes. So, roll call on this one.
Well, I'm sorry, can we just hear what the motion says?
Do you want to do it as the superintendent recommendation? Or do you want to?
Add a recommendation.
The recommendation would be to create a Schedule C position for tutoring within the science department. And we'll leave the terms undefined at
Yeah.
this point.
You guys will come to us with hours and whatever. Are you okay?
Ms.
Am I
Alberto?
okay?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
yes.
Mr. Dietz?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Ms. Pointer-Titus?
Yes.
Ms. Sherbert?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Is there any other new business?
Yeah, I have a question, and I guess it's new business. A parent recently called me about there not being enough textbooks in biology and algebra. And I didn't know that, even though I have a child in those classes, but I haven't seen the books. And I asked him, and he said, no, we don't have one in algebra, and we do have one in biology, but I have to bring it back. So, number one, I'm wondering if it's true. And if it's true, is it by design, or is it because we don't have enough books?
It's not something I can respond to at this point. We'll have to follow up on it as far as the course and the teacher. And
So if I want to call this parent back and tell her, what would I say?
I would recommend that she call the assistant superintendent or the superintendent and provide that information so that we can follow up on it.
Okay.
I got a call as well, so.
About that same thing?
I think some of us got called about chemistry also.
Is there any other new business?
I am just wondering if we have an update on what's happening with the Bartle Spanish teacher position.
We had the resignation at the last meeting. It was posted, and that's as far as it's moved at this point. We didn't have a recommendation for hire at this point.
Is there any other new business? The Highland Park Board of Education welcomes public participation and is reserved this time for your comments. Would anybody like to speak now?
Okay, this time I'll speak both as Mary Current, the parent of 2 high schoolers, and from the GSE. Just have to follow up on the science discussion. I actually think a tutor is incredibly urgent. I have a kid in the physics class who has not learned any physics yet. I don't know how in your next meeting, I think it's going to be a little bit too late for her. So I really think it's very, very urgent to get something happening soon. I also did talk to the superintendent. We have the #1 ranked teacher education program in physics in the nation, so we should have a strong connection going there. We have a very, very good biology teacher education program. We don't have chemistry, but I know that we could probably help with that anyway. So we can follow up and have more discussions, but it's urgent. You know, I don't think we can wait.
I agree with Mary on that.
Little public comment.
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else? Okay, we need a resolution to go into executive session at 6:30 on December 9th, 2013 at the Bartle School to discuss personnel litigation and negotiations.
So moved.
Second? Is there?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in, thanks. All in favor? Thank you.